Hi, everyone. I am Violette Ayala, the founder of FemCity, and we were giggling in the green room before we were hopping on here today because there are trick-or-treaters in my neighborhood already. It's Halloween, in case you're watching the replay. And so I've closed the door, I've closed the curtains, but if you find that I'm on mute, it is because the dogs have gone crazy seeing all of the Halloween costumes out and about. So I'm so excited for us to gather today. Today, we're going to talk about how do you discover what is holding you back. And the reason why this is important is because we're getting into the final months of 2023. It's a really great time to push forward, keep on going, attain your goals. But sometimes there are some things that are holding us back. And we may not recognize them. It might be subconscious, it may be unconscious. And so today we're going to dive into that topic to see what we can go ahead and learn from our experts to help us to push through these challenges and these, I don't want to say the word blocks because we've been using it the entire month, but we do have some. So sometimes they're health blocks, sometimes they are revenue, wealth blocks, sometimes they're stories that we tell ourselves over and over again. It might sound something like, I'm never going to have money. I'm never going to get out of this financial situation, or I'm never going to get into a healthier state, or I'm never going to have balance in my life. So those might be some things that are circulating around your mind. And when we have those thoughts, sometimes they hold us back. So we may be showing up. We may be doing the Instagram reels. We might be going ahead and following up, doing our sales funnel. But if we have these self-limiting beliefs, if we have these narratives, we're really not going to go too far, because they're playing around, and sometimes they self-sabotage ourselves as well. We kind of like have that playing, and so they show up in other ways, energetically, and also just showing up, like we do all the work and then the money is not showing up any which way. So if you're watching live, which I see a couple of you have just started joining us, you can ask questions. There is a chat feature there. I know we're on. They're barking in the background. I'm glad I mentioned something. We're live streaming into LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. So if you do have questions, post them there. If you're watching the replay, you can always ask questions, and you can always reach out to our FemCity experts. We are here collectively for you. We want to see you thrive and grow and prosper. It makes us really happy. So definitely stay connected. Let's go ahead and get started. We have Alyssa who's joining us. Alyssa, share a little bit about yourself.
Hi, yeah. So my name is Alyssa Williamson. I'm a business and intuitive success coach, and I specialize in mindset and marketing for this very reason, because mindset blocks will show up subconsciously when you're not expecting them. And so I help female business owners elevate their business, double, triple, whatever their income, but help live their dream lifestyle at the same time. And so there's a lot of pieces that we go into that.
I love that. And I love that you shared that, because we haven't really started sharing any wisdom, but you just shared a little bit right there in your intro, because I find that even if we had a block, or if we had a challenge, or we had a self-limiting belief a year ago or last week, sometimes we think we're fixed and we're like, oh, I'm perfect. Now I'm going to make $1 billion, or I'm going to hit my goals because I'm fixed. I find that every time we up level, there's a whole new set of self-limiting beliefs, narratives that are holding us back. So I feel like it's a constant, it's an evolution. It's not like we're ever at this perfect state. I feel like there's always something for us to learn and dive in and kind of purge out of how we feel and think about ourselves and what we deserve. So I'm so glad that you started off with that. But all right, let's go to Emilah. Emilah, share a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I'm Emilah DeToro. I'm an intuitive coach and energy healer. I work with women to help them refine their life and or business to align with their soul, or the soul of their business. And this is just my passion. I've been doing it for many years. And to see women just really transform on an essential elemental level and face these beliefs, so important. So important. So I usually work with people longer term, 3 to 9 months, as they're really grappling with how to come into alignment with themselves.
Awesome. We have some love that came through. We have Barbara, who is from our founder circle as well. She's a Miami femme, so I get a chance to hug her once a month. I'm super excited. And then we also have Shoshana, who's joining us. She's also from our FemCity founder circle, and she runs our virtual Canada chapter, FemCity chapter. And then we have Melinda, who I love Melinda. She's also from our FemCity founder circle. But Melinda, I think your message cut up, so let us know. We love that you're here joining us. She loves giving hugs, and I love hugging her. So she's from our Roanoke chapter. Judith, share a little bit about yourself.
I'm Judith Richey. I'm a spiritual and transformative healer. And what I help you do is go to that depth that all the personal development, the books, the seminars, the trying to gut it out on your own and figure it out doesn't get to. So I'm kind of that depth person that you come to, and I help you address things that are happening on the soul level, that have come forward that you're experiencing in this lifetime, to help your soul heal and gain wisdom and knowledge in its eternal journey, so that you can also live the life of your dreams that you're creating here.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And we've got Lisa, who is a FemCity San Antonio board member. We're so excited that she's here. And then Barbara gave some love from us all the way in LinkedIn. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in. Let's assume that the Fems that are joining us, anyway, let's assume that the Fems that are joining us are thinking that there's something that has them stuck. There's some sort of thing that's going on emotionally or energetically that's holding them back. How do we even discover that? How do we even figure out what that narrative is? What's that conversation? What's that subconsciousness element that's happening? So I'm going to go to Alyssa first. How do you discover that key component that's holding you back?
So my favorite way is, and I have clients do this too, is first get clarity on your goals. Like, know specifically what you're going after, whether it's business, whether it's personal, it's health, whatever it is. I even actually have it here. I've got like a manifestation list that I've written, and just write that down. And then what I like to do is use that from there. Okay, do I have blocks in this area to reach this goal? Because you could do it in daily life. You could do it, hey, something's come up. But I like the strategic part of, okay, what am I trying to achieve? And do I have a block there? And in the last video we did at the beginning of the month, how to remove your blocks, I talked about muscle testing. So I don't want to take up time with that now, but testing, like just journaling, like checking in with your intuition. Is there resistance here? What might be holding me back from this block? What is my deepest fear about this block? What's the worst that could happen if I achieved this thing that I want? And doing some journaling work on that is another way to also approach it. And just go to the worst possible route and then be like, well, that's not realistic. What will really happen? Here's a path of solutions that I could have. So create a list of what you want to achieve, and then just journal on what could happen, what could be holding you back, and then see if that feels true. So you have to be connected to your intuition too for that.
And asking open-ended questions that allow you the ability to write and discover what might be hidden by asking is open. Instead of a yes and no question, you're asking yourself questions that give you permission to go ahead and elaborate a little bit more. I know I had two blocks or two things that were holding me back. One was, and Nikki Novo helped me uncover many, many years ago. She was on our podcast last week, and we posted it over on Instagram. But, for me, I always thought, I made money very easily. As a young person, I started my first business when I was 22 years old, made a lot of money, started a Pilates studio, made a lot of money. And for whatever reason, I think it was after the 2009 crash, I kind of inherited a self-limiting belief that was, it's effort and it's very hard to make money. So I'm sharing that because sometimes we have no blocks. Sometimes we were super gifted in making money, and then something happens, an experience, and it changes the way we think about money and our worth and how hard it is to make money. And that was something that I had in my mind, where she finally told me one day, we were doing some sort of hypno kind of like manifesting meditation thing. And she was like, it's not hard to make money. It's easy to make money. And when she told me that, I had to dive in and think, why did I once believe that? And it was true, to then now it's not something I believe. And in my mind, it's not true. And it was because we lost over $250,000 when the market crashed. And so that was so painful that I had that new thing in my head. So I love that you said that, because if you ask yourself the right questions, open-ended, and you allow yourself to freely write it out, connected to your higher being, I think, making sure that you're doing it so that you can help yourself, the answers will come out for sure. So thank you for that. And let's go to Emilah. Emilah, your advice to how to discover the things that are holding us back?
Yeah, one of my favorite ones to work with for myself and with my clients is to go to the body for information. And I will often bring people into a guided meditation, just calling in some beautiful golden light to nourish us first, and then to scan the body. And where is the block? There's usually a physical block in the body that we can feel when we really tend to what's going on energetically in our bodies. And so I ask them to identify where that is and then get curious about it. Like, does it have a color? Does it have a texture? Does it have a quality that's ready to express? What does it want to share with us? And then as we breathe into it and just listen and tend to that part of ourselves, usually the information is revealed, like what the block is, what the next step is to help release the block, how we can tend to ourselves. So I work very energetically and body centered with people, and it's just amazing what can come out sometimes. Just the other day I worked with somebody and she had this big red flash in her neck, and it was really literally a flash of anger, right? She had really picked up somebody else's anger about something, right? And she had a resonance for it because she also could be triggered to anger in that same place, and that was interfering with her finding the work that she wanted to be doing in the world. So I really lean on energetic and intuitive information in the body to help us find that block and release it. And like you said earlier, we often come back over cycles to do it over and over, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm constantly working on the issue of consideration. Am I being considered? Why do I think I'm not being considered? I've been working with it for years, right? It comes back more and more subtly over time. And it's just the nature of healing.
Yeah.
Right?
And it does get, so I love, by the way, that you mentioned, I love that your approach assumes that we understand that we do have a block. And so when we ask it to reveal itself, we already know it's there. Let me find which one, where it is, where it's holding its space within myself. And I love that you mentioned that, sometimes we have those triggers. I mean, sometimes we fix ourselves and we think we're fine. And then all of a sudden something will trigger it. And then all of a sudden it relives itself. It kind of like just revitalizes itself and empowers itself again. I think that money block that I had that I talked about, losing that much money and then getting money back. And then of course we lost it again with the crash, with another crash. So we had 2 crashes in our lives, like most people. And, that was really hard to also recover from because you definitely, oh my gosh, it's happening again. Am I destined to be like this forever? And you start kind of building even more elaborate blocks in your mind. So, all right, let's go to Judith. Judith, what is your tip for us on how to uncover the things that are holding us back?
So I love that you were talking with Emilah about the fact that people come and they're already aware that they have blocks. So the very first step in the work that I would do with clients is awareness. And we have to enter into a place of awareness. So it's kind of an inquiry process where you're taking inventory and you're looking around. And one of the biggest places to find those limiting beliefs, those blocks, those places that are keeping you from moving forward is to pay attention to the patterns that you're repeating in your life.
Oh.
And those patterns can be in relationships, whether they're romantic relationships, whether they're friendships, whether I met people who have dated the same person over and over again. Their name was just different, right? And they're like, well, all these people keep showing up in my life and blah, 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 or they take a job and it's the same bad ending every time in the job, or they find themselves caught in these patterns of anger or fear or disappointment or unfulfilled expectations. What they're missing is that they're the common denominator in every one of those situations. And when we stop and look at it, there's a pattern they are repeating in every one of those situations. So I say awareness is a good place to start in this. And like Alyssa and like Emilah, I also use muscle testing and I use energy work in the work that I do. Muscle testing for me looks like asking the soul the questions and getting the answers through the kinesthetic process of muscle testing. And in my clients, when they come to work with me, we have these conversations, and then we do a diagnostic. I muscle test, have them muscle test through, I don't do it for them. They do it through a very lengthy diagnostic tool that actually reveals to us what those patterns are that are showing up for them. So awareness is a good place to start. You know, when you're blaming everybody else and you're constantly angry at the world, take a minute and stop and look at what role you're playing in that.
Yeah, I love that. The patterns are huge. And I know so many people that they marry or partner up with someone who's like their parent, who's
Yes.
not the healthiest. I see that often, or that repeating, getting themselves into this position of like with work and working in the same, kind of not healthy environment over and over and over again. So even like finances, if you keep on going through it, ask yourself, what are the patterns? What are the behaviors? What's it tied to? And diving in really makes a huge difference. And by the way, it's also very messy. Like that's one thing that I also wanted to share is that people think this is like a super sexy thing and it's so cool. And, I'm going to film it and put it on Instagram. It is gut wrenching. It is ugly. It is not kind to dive in. It is quite uncomfortable, but there's so much beauty on the other side. There's so much more, the opportunities, the abundance, the prosperity on the other side of that is just exponentially so much better. So I want to mention that too, because we glamorize that, but it's not really very glamorous at all. All right, so we're running out of time. So Alyssa, and I love that you mentioned all of your tips. I absolutely love that. Where can we find you to learn more about the work you're doing in this world?
So the best place is either alyssawilliamson.com, ALYSSA. Williamson is SON, and I have, or on Instagram, Alyssa Williamson _coach. I'm actually doing a free training in my Facebook group this week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, on creating multiple six figures in your business with ease and the 3 steps to that. So if you're watching this right now, that's a great way. You can find it both on my website and Instagram, or just reaching out to me.
Awesome. And I was going to mention what I loved about your tip was assuming that, I think you probably phrased it a little bit more eloquent than I'm going to share right now, but I love that part of that asking as you're journaling is, what's the worst thing that will happen if this comes true? So what's the worst thing that will happen if I make $1 million? What's the worst thing that's going to happen if I buy investment property? Because I know you do that also. So I love that that question, I think, is very important because it will make us come up with the solution right there on the spot. So I just wanted to give you some extra love on that. Emilah, where can we find you to learn more about the work you're doing in this world?
The best place to find me is on Emilah.com, my first name, EMILAH.com. And one of the simplest, easiest ways to connect with me is through my new intuitive salons. I've been doing group intuitive readings and energy healings for many years now, and now you can just drop in on one. So you can book your spot a few days ahead and stop in. I do them twice a month, the first Friday and the third Thursday. And they're inexpensive, $50. Come in, you'll have an experience with 4 or 5 other people, and we'll really dive into whatever that block is, wherever you're feeling confused, whatever that pattern is that's showing up. We'll do a snapshot of it and see if we can find where in your soul and your body it's residing and how to clear it. So it's a great way to get to know me.
Great. Thank you so much. And Judith, how can Femmes find you to learn more about the work you're doing in this world?
Thank you for asking. And by the way, it's been an honor to be on the panel with all of y'all. We're all so similar, and we do such great work in the world. And I love it when we all come together to offer to our fellow femmes. I am taking a social media break right now, and my website's being redesigned. So I'm not going to talk about social media, but the easiest way, I have an offer for everyone. I have an ebook called Unlock Your Potential, a comprehensive guide to letting go of limiting beliefs, which is exactly what we're talking about today. So if you'd like a copy of that ebook, it's got some great journaling exercises, questions, resources in there for you. I'd be glad to send that to you free. Just drop me an email at judith@judithrichey.com, and I will get that to you.
Awesome. Thank you. And I wanted to give, so Barbara gave some extra love, which I just wanted to highlight that. Thank you so much, Barbara. And then Erica, I haven't seen you in forever and a day. I'm so excited that you're here joining us. So great to see your beautiful smile. So thanks for joining us. And I don't see any other questions. So we are going to wrap up. But if you are watching the replay and you do have some questions, feel free to add them here, or you can reach out to any of our FemCity experts. We're here for you, and we can't wait to see you prosper and grow and prepare for a great closure of 2023. To learn more about FemCity, you can head over to femcity.com. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.